This is our third and final talk from Chapter 23 on title and risk of loss. And these, by the way, are found in the very back of your chapter if you want to follow what I'm talking about on 449 and 450. These are special situations determine what happens with title, etc. So the first one is called sale on approval. And it means what it says. A sale is made contingent upon the buyer approving it, liking it, deciding, yep, we'll go with it. So it could be as simple as, hey, your satisfaction or your money back type thing. Though I've always argued that those are basically a different type of transaction. But it could be, let's say that I'm going to do a painting for you. And you say, well, you're not a very good painter. That happens to be true, but I convince you that, you know what, let me try this. Let me try and paint your portrait. And if you like it, you buy. If you don't, you can just give it back. It's up to you. It's $10,000. So it's a sale on approval. If they approve of it, then they owe the money and the sale is complete and title transfers. If they don't, title remains with the seller, me, the guy who can only draw stick figures. That's different than a sale or return. A sale or return happens not with consumers so much as with businesses. A lot of things that you'll find in, not a lot, but some of the things you find in a retail store, party store for example, were purchased as sale or return. Potato chips are often sold that way. The distributor will bring out potato chips, and one of the things that they want more than anything is to make sure that those potato chips are fresh. So they don't want a bag sitting on a shelf for 6 months or something, getting stale, and someone buys this, hey, these potato chips are lousy, they're not very fresh. So they're sold on sale or return. And here's how it works. Let's say they go into a store one week and sell them 24 bags of potato chips. Come back the following week, and they've sold 17 of them. Okay, so they'll take the remainder that are left, the other 7, off the shelves and put new ones up and credit them for those 7 being returned for full price cost. That's a sale or return. Paperback books have been sold this way for years. Paperback book is sold, shipped to a place and retailer, and they want them to put more books out than maybe the retailer thinks they can sell. The idea being by the distributor is, hey, there's a chance we could sell all these and we want to sell books. So they may only want the latest, what's that thing? 50 Shades of Grey, whatever version we're on, or what? I haven't read them yet. Let's say the latest version came out. They think it's going to be a hot seller. So the retailer says, well, I could probably sell maybe 2 dozen. I says, well, take 3 dozen, just in case. And they do. And the distributor comes back the next time and checks on it, and we'll take it back out if it's not moving. Now, sometimes it's just shipped into them, and it's not worth the wait to move those. So at least it used to be on paperback books anyway. The retailer, all they do was rip the covers off of the books and mail those instead of mailing all the book back. It's just the weight wasn't worth even the price they were going to get for it. So they just mail the covers in. So if you ever find a paperback book missing a cover, you know that somebody was supposed to destroy that but didn't, and somebody else got their hands on it too. You have to know somebody used to do that when we worked at a bookstore many years ago when they were going to college. Not me. Magazines are sold that way too. That, if the latest version of Time or Sports Illustrated, whatever, hasn't sold, then they will take back the ones that weren't and give them return for it, give them credit for it. We've talked about consignments already rather extensively, so there's not much really to discuss there. Self-serve stores is just confusing more than anything. In Michigan, pretty much, the way it works is that you're deemed to have made the transaction when you get to the, by the way, almost every store you go into is self-serve. That is, you go pick up the item yourself instead of having them get it for you. And when you pick it off the shelf, some states say, well, you've bought it then. And you have to go pay for it, but the deal is done. Because nobody else can buy it. You took it off the shelf. In Michigan, we tend to look at it the other way. It's which the deal is done when you get to the cash register. Which raises an issue, by the way. You've ever heard you break it, you bought it? You know, some stores don't do that. You know, they just, you know, clean up after you, clean up on aisle 6 or whatever it is. Technically, they can do you break it, you bought it, because that's you being negligent in some fashion, unless you can prove that the thing was unduly slippery, i.e. they failed their duty to keep it safe. Either way, it doesn't matter. Last one, auction sales. When does title change on an auction? It changes right when they hammer it down. That's when title changes. Unless it's with reserve, which, if you remember, we talked about it in class. Reserve means there's a floor that they have to get above. If they haven't reached the floor, then it hasn't really happened yet. So that means that the buyer doesn't really know whether they have a deal or not, but the auctioneer does. And that's it for this chapter.